All right, folks, I think you can hear me now. Can you?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rati.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
We'll just give it just a couple of minutes and we'll start. Thank you guys for coming, all of you. Is Ved here as well?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi. I can't
Hello.
see you, but you're here. Okay.
We are live on Facebook also now.
All right. So let's start, I think. Shall we go ahead and start, folks? Okay, another 30 seconds. All right, folks, welcome to week 8 of Hangout with the Creatives. This is our at-home series of the Indian Film Festival of Cincinnati. We hope you guys are all doing well and coping in your different countries and different states around the US as well. My name is Rati Apana. I'm the Executive Director of the Indian Film Festival of Cincinnati. This year, we have postponed our annual festival, but we still wanted to keep our patrons engaged. We wanted to keep folks engaged, so we decided to have a weekly festival. So in essence, I curate a film each week for folks to watch. Most of these films have been played at our festival before. And then at the end of the week, we get together for a Zoom session with the creatives to learn about the story behind the story. So thank you, Amit Rathuri and Anita Rathuri, for organizing Zoom. And a big thanks to Lena Gandhi and Anumitra for working on promotions. Let me just set the ground rules for today. So what I'd like you to do is, to the audience, just know that when you ask a question, we're zooming in on you. So please keep your video on at the time. And when you ask a question, please sort of wave out to us so we know who to zoom in on, and let us know your name. So that helps us zoom in. It helps Amit zoom in on you. All right, so having said that, let me start. It gives me great pleasure today to welcome the cast and the director of the film Tashi. Thank you all for being here today. And I'm going to start with Shilpa. Welcome, Shilpa. Shilpa is the writer, director, and producer of the film Tashi. She's an award-winning director. Her previous film, and I'm going to read the name here, is Pularum Iniyum Nalakal, which means there's always tomorrow. Went to 33 festivals, received 17 awards, and she did all this while working as a full-time employee as brand manager of Procter & Gamble in Singapore. Shilpa, as a student, won a lot of recognition for her unique talent in writing, in cartooning, in painting. What else don't you do? Shilpa seems to do it all. And of course, her academics. And then she won a prestigious Singapore Airlines award that took her to Singapore for her studies. She completed her education there, and then she got married. She has a child. She's also a full-time mom. And today, I believe she works as a marketing, Shilpa, you work as a marketing director for a healthcare firm right now. This is her third feature film. And the film was shot over a span of 8 days, 10-member team that included 5 cast and 5 crew. And it was made with a very small production budget of 25K. Shilpa, that's wonderful. Now, and Shilpa, of course, is a prolific reader. She loves to write. Welcome, Shilpa. Welcome to our session today.
Thank you
So
so much,
lovely to
Rati.
have you from Singapore.
Thank you. Thank you so
Tashi,
much.
thank you. Tashi is such a beautiful film. Now, to tell you about Tashi a little bit, it won many awards, went to many festivals. Notable of them were the Calcutta International Cult Film, where the film won an award. It went to the International Film Festival in Dhaka, in Delhi, and at our own festival, it won the Best Screenplay Award last year. And people left the theater really, really loving the film. It's completely independent, self-funded film and shot entirely in Singapore. And we have many Singaporeans in our audience here today from Cincinnati as well. Shout out, Singaporeans. I'm sure they're all muted, so they can't shout.
Hello.
Hi. Um,
Singapore, ex-Singapore.
Loved it.
Shilpa, you took a simple conversation and then you wove it into a dynamic set of teaching lessons for all of us. Tashi, in my opinion, is so multi-layered. At one level, there is the simplicity of the brother, an expat brother visiting the sister in Singapore in the Indian community. So the setting is Indian, and it was all shot mostly in a couple of rooms. And really, it's an everyday happening that happens in our homes. But in the process of telling this simple story, as an artist, you explored many different issues, such as, sibling relationships, filial relationships, arranged marriages, expat maids, the concept of life and death as we grow older, and you created a situation, I think, where the real story was in the mind of the viewer. So each one of us who came and looked at it, watched your film, you allowed us to explore our own stories and take away from it what we could, from our own personal experiences as well. And then I think the lesson really was, yeah, at the end of it, life is a process, and we do need to let go, whether it's a relationship like the one that Wade had with his girlfriend, or coming to a situation where the maid is where or coming to terms with a situation like the maid, like a Priya, the maid finds herself in, or a life's decision not to be married, as in the case of Radhika, or even life itself, as Vandana said, even Buddha died. Both your films, Mausa and Tashi, revolve around these ordinary people coming together. And I want to ask you, what sparked the interest in making films around these ordinary conversations? I mean, you took something that could be so mundane and elevated it to give us insights on many of life's relevant issues.
Thank you so much, Rati, for that question. But before I get to the questions, I just really want to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, lovely. You're welcome.
When Tashi was officially selected for the Indian Film Festival of Cincinnati, I was super excited because yes, I was with PNG for about almost nine and a half years. And I've been to Cincinnati. I've been to the headquarters in Cincy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really, really excited about that. Obviously the team was very excited when we won the award. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for this push, honestly, for Tashi to be part of this
Absolutely.
offline film festival.
Yes, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, because over the last 5 days, 6 days, we've had a lot of people. It's almost like a revival, right? And I'm quite happy about this because the team is here. It's, the cast, obviously, everyone is familiar with from the screen, but I have my co-producer, Matthew, I have my music director, Prasanna here, my AD, Remya, and yes, that's Matthew. He's my cinematographer, editor, and co-producer. So a lot of Tashi's work that you've seen is done by him. And we have the music of Tashi's great, and that's Remya. She's my chief AD. We have Prasanna, the music of Tashi obviously
it was
stands out.
such lovely music, so subdued, so beautiful.
Yes, so that's Prasanna's work, and Mansi, who is in the same, that's Prasanna for you. And Mansi, who's in the same frame as Ilanti, she also helped. She's my chief publicity manager. So it's a very small team. Pretty much the entire team is here, except for a few post-production people. So it's the first time I think even we are all in a film festival of that sorts. Like otherwise we are all in different countries and we don't really get to attend it together. So thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity. Now coming to your question. So I make films for fun, right? I make films for it's my passion. Like you rightly mentioned, I have a job, so I don't really, I don't need to really look at anything else except have fun with the process. And also I produce them myself. So a lot of my films are about day-to-day lives because that's more accessible for me to make. Like I can't afford to make an Interstellar, for example, right? So it is about regular people, regular settings, and that's always the case with my films. Tashi specifically came about. So it really started with the actors, I would say, because I'd always wanted to work with Ilanti. Tanya and I'd been talking for a couple of years, Anvita too, and then they did a play. Tanya, Charan, Anvita, they were all part of this play, and Ilanti and I were watching it together. And post the play, I got really inspired. Like I just saw these people in the same setting, and then it just connected. And I was like, oh wait, she could be the mother, and she could be a doctor, and he could be the son, and it just somehow connected. So that's how it started. In terms of the concept itself, I think because now I work for a brand called Ensure. It's a pretty big brand in the US as well. It's by Abbott, and it's basically adult nutrition milk, right? And a lot of my consumers are elderly people. So it just so happened that once when I was doing consumer work in Singapore, I went to this house, and then the lady there, she was about in her 50s, and she was caring for her parents who were in their 70s and 80s. And she mentioned that I also get tired. I'm in my 50s. It was okay earlier, but now even I am older. I am also getting old, and I'm also feeling tired. I don't think I can do this. And I asked her, okay, so do you not get help? Are you the only child? That sort of stuff. And then she's like, no, I have a brother. Then I was like, okay, so how does so do you like divide and conquer? Like how does it work, right? And she basically said very simply that, oh no, because he has a family, he has his own kids, whereas I don't have a family. And she just said that. I mean, she didn't really complain about it or whatever. She stopped her sentence there. But something about that really stuck with me, and I think I felt it was unfair or something. I'm sure they have their reasons, but that stuck with me. That was also the time I was reading this Tibetan book of Living and Dying. So obviously a lot of inspiration came from that, because what I found very beautiful about the Tibetan culture was that somewhere in the book it says the whole of living is a preparation for dying, because Tibetans are always preparing themselves mentally and physically, and that's what they do, and it's not a morbid thing. For them it's just a transitionary phase, right? And so I found that whole concept very it's all about living with satisfaction, right? So I found that concept very unique as well. So I think the book, what happened at my consumer work, the play, which got me the actors, and Priya's character was really inspired by my own helper. So I have a helper, Lakshmi. She started living with us when my daughter was just 11 days old, and she's been here since. She's been with us for 7.5 years now. So every time I ask her, what do you want? She's like, oh, I want this for my children. And I'm like, oh my God, what do you want for yourself? Are you saving up for your retirement? What are you doing? And she wouldn't have an answer, right? So she was really the inspiration for Priya. So so I think all of these just came together, and Tashi happened.
So is your maid also from India then? Is she an expat?
She's from India, yeah. She's from Bangalore.
She's an expat maid.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting that you got some insights from your reading of the Tibetan book, the Book of Living Dead, because I think the Tibetans sort of prepare themselves for the next life, right? So all of it is a preparation for that transition into the next life. That's really interesting. Now, as you develop these characters, which of these characters afforded the biggest challenge to you? You think?
I don't think the characters really, I mean, so
No.
my writing process and my team knows this very well. It's quite fast actually. So during that, so I watched this play and I think within a week I had a trip to the US. And most of my scripts are written on trips to US because I get like a good 20 something hours without disturbance, right? So I completed the script in that flight. So I think once it came to my head, right, it just flowed, right? So I didn't find any characters like particularly more difficult than other. The only thing was that I think the only unfinished part of it on the flight was that I didn't have my book. I didn't have the Tibetan Book of Living, and I knew I wanted some stuff from it. And then the only thing I remembered was even Buddha died. So as I came back and I read a little bit more, and I found the word Tashi. So it was an untitled script on the flight, and then once I landed, I looked at it, and then it just came about. But I think from a character development, and again, I keep telling this to my team, and whenever I'm asked this question, from a writing standpoint, I don't really do a lot of backstory writing. I mean, it doesn't work like that for me. I really think writing is something that the universe gives me, and then I just write, right? I almost feel like I'm just the instrument to do it. So I don't really think too much about it. I just see the scene and then I just write, and I feel like if that stops, then the writing will stop.
Oh, wow. I wish all of us could do that. That sounds amazing. What's your next film?
So after Tashi, I did 2 films. I did Katha at
Yeah.
8, which is the one, we had applied for Cincinnati this year.
I saw
Katha
Qatar.
at 8 is an anthology of 8 different Indian languages. So each film is in a different Indian language. So that it went to a few festivals. It was an International Film Festival of Kerala and a few others up until March, and then COVID happened. So during the lockdown, I made another film. It's called Dots. It's again a feature film. I made it with 10 artists from 6 different film industries. So like Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, but it's just 3 languages, Hindi, English, and Malayalam. Yes. So Dots is completed as well, and it premiered so we just had one screening of Dots like online on June 13th, just a couple of weeks ago. And and now we are figuring out like how exactly to release it more broadly. But I haven't really kicked off the next project. I think Dots took because I just started working on in April and we already released it on June 13th. So it's been quite intense.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to watching Dots as well. But you're an inspiration to all of us, doing multiple things and excelling in multiple things. That's really wonderful. I'm going to move on to Ila. Ila came in earlier. So Ila Maheshwari acted as Vandana in the film, the elderly mother. Ila has worked across various sectors, including consumer retail, real estate, hospitality, general international trading, automotive, as well as education. And she retired as general manager of one of Singapore's most successful service office businesses. And welcome, Ila. It's so good to have you here. And I just want to tell the audience, I've heard a lot about the Ila Maheshwari sari drape, with which the journalist Deepika Shetty really recognized and popularized. So Ila, you have to tell us more about that as well. Tashi is your first feature film, but you have done some work in theater before, and you've been associated with theater. Was it through your husband, I think? Your husband was. But was it easy for you to slip into this role? Because as I watched you, there was this calmness about your personality. And I couldn't help but think, was this a role that you played, or was this really you? And how easy or difficult was this for you? It was your first acting debut.
Rati, without any hesitation, I will say
Welcome.
I have never acted in my life. Never.
Lovely.
It's in the school, some small roles or something like that. It is different. I don't call it the play, theater, or movie, nothing at all. It is entirely, yes, what you mentioned, Deepika Shetty, Ila Maheshwari Drip, that somehow or the other, it became very famous in Singapore. And on that note, one other friend, just who wanted to make a short film, it's called Fall Bidding. And she was looking for some actress, and they saw this sari draping. And I think Tanya was her friend. And Tanya mentioned that why can't we talk to Ila? And we were sitting at the airport, just seeing of my son-in-law going out. And me and my daughter, we were sitting, and my daughter asked me, Mama, someone is asking you, will you act in the movie? I said, are you mad? I have never acted in my life. So she says, but what is the problem? I said, no, I can't. I cannot remember even one small dialogue. And I thought it's over. And afterwards, I came to know that she wrote to them, replied that, yes, she will act. And this person asked her, where do you stand? Coincidentally, she was in the same condominium in the other building. And she couldn't stop, and she came to meet us in the night, late night, by 10:30 or so. And she says, I don't want to hear anything. Just say that. I said, please, it will be a problem to you people. I cannot remember a single dialogue. And even if I remember, when the camera come in front of me, I'm 100% sure I will not even remember the first word. So she said, that is our problem. You forget about it, but just you say, and we don't hear no also. You're yes, and we are going ahead. And that's how it started. And in that film, Shilpa came to watch, and Shilpa thought, oh my God, I knew this auntie, and how come that she is doing some other film and not with me? And after that, I think from the flight only, when she was writing script, I remember that she sent an email to my daughter that asked mommy that the script is ready and be prepared. So that's how I'm here. And I'm not ashamed of saying I'm reaching 75. I'm 74-year-old, and I started all these things after 70. So
I know, that's fabulous.
Very proudly, I will say that it is all because of my husband. My husband passed away 12 years back.
Mm-hmm.
And he was extremely fond of all sorts of cultural activities, whether singing, theater, movie, and he did everything. And he definitely wanted me to do. And I said, no, I can't wait. I love music, dancing. That was my hobby, but never theater, never movies, acting.
I think you have one of your students here in the audience as well from Singapore who took your dancing lessons, and you'll get to talk to her soon. But was it easy for you to, I mean, in the sense, once the character was presented to you, was it easy to go through?
I will say very frankly that this was the confidence of the writer, director, and producer, that they wanted me to do it. And they had so much confidence on me that you don't have to worry, you will do it, what we want to do. I said, I really can't remember, but I think I didn't give her any problem. I remembered my dialogues quite well. You can ask Shilpa.
Lovely. I'll ask Geeta Humani to say a quick hello to you. I just saw her coming on. Geeta, are you there?
Ilaben, of course, in Singapore, everybody knows me as Bola. That's,
Bola, yeah. And she's Bola. Hi, Bola.
But I have to say, for Ilaben, for you, that role, you were natural, because in general, as a person that we know of you, and I've known you since I was pretty little, right? In my early teens, I think, or maybe younger. And you've always been a very positive person, never just overall, what you see in the movie is who she is. So I think it was a very apt role for you to play. And of course, you did it very naturally. Another thing to add on to all the talents that she has, she's also a very talented dancer. She was the one that actually taught us Rajasthani style dancing, Iraben, if you remember, between you and Manmarben. You know, you guys did a wonderful job in just bringing about the passion for dance for us, which I have to share with you. My kids now are as passionate as we are, as you were. So thanks to you. But it was wonderful, watching you, finally seeing the movie. I just never got around to it. A lot of nostalgia. Mansi, thank you for prodding me. Mansi was constantly texting me, make sure you watch it. And yes, it was a great movie to all of y'all, everyone that took part in the movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And the fact that it was so real life, something that we could relate to, it made it very much more special. Thank you.
Yeah, I will not say that I am a teacher. I love dancing and I knew some dances and we did it together. That's all. But Bola was a very, very good dancer and I enjoyed doing dancing with her. Rather with them, I have done Gujarati folk dance Garba also. So
yes,
it was a real good time.
Good times, very good times.
Thanks a lot, Bola. And I think right now I can say that what Bola is saying, I have not acted. That is me. If anybody feels that I have to feel like that or something, no. In my family, with all the family members, I think Ila Maheshwari is just like Vandana Mehta.
Yes, exactly.
I think Ila has put it quite clearly.
Lovely.
And Shilpa knows it.
Shilpa did a great job on casting. Anu Mitra has a comment for you. She says, you're the source of light in Tashi. And I'd like Anu to just say a quick hello before I move on to the others. Anu, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for taking my comments. Ilaji, this was a fantastic role that you played. And I was really moved by your acting, even though you were being yourself, because, there was so much darkness with all the things that were emerging from these people's lives, Ved and Radhika and Priya. But because of your composure and your optimism, everyone is changed. Priya is able to dream for herself. She goes beyond thinking of, her past, especially her affiliation with her mother who died a long time ago. Same thing with the son, I forget his name, Sanjay, I believe. Sanjay. And then Ved is able to release his past and go forward. And even Meghna is changed because she's coming around and seeing the first glimpses of the unselfish Sanjay. So I think, you are the pivot. You are at the center. And it's so brilliantly conceptualized. Even though, Shilpa very modestly says she doesn't give it too much thought. But, there are layers and layers over here. And it is absolutely beautiful how you make this old Tibetan ideas about light and darkness, about us preparing for death right now, here and now. You make it so vivid and you make it come alive. So I just wanted to thank you. And in the end, when we are done, I would love to have a question for the cinematographer.
Yeah, I would love to tell you that all credit goes to Shilpa. It is her confidence, her interest, everything. I tell her that you are unbelievable. So for me, it is only Shilpa, Shilpa, and Shilpa. That's why I am here and I'm getting so much, something nice to hear.
Yes, and isn't it lovely during these times especially to hear something positive. Shilpa, you can respond to Anu and then I'll move on to I think I want on to Tanya after that.
Thank you so much. I mean, thank you so much for all your kind feedback. Yeah, I mean, it's true that I don't really think about character development, but because I work mostly with actors who may not be professional or who are debuting. So, obviously, Ilanti was doing her first feature film. Sai, the person who did Way, it was his first film. I think Charan also. So because people are new, I also tend to, because I know some of them I've met before. Some Ilanti, obviously, I know her very well. So I think the characters tend to be like the actors, um, which I find makes more sense, to get that natural performance out, versus, make them act like something totally different. Now, that might be something that the actors like to do, but as a writer, director, producer, I prefer to write characters that are tailor-made for the actor. So so that's why Vandana Mehta is very much like Ilanti because Ilanti is like that. She's very bubbly and she has an opinion on everything, and she scolds me or everyone, all of us, but she's always such a pleasure to be around with, right? So it just comes across in the character.
Thank you. Thank you, Shilpa. I want to introduce to the audience our next cast member, Tanya Mukherjee, and she acted as Radhika. Tanya made her film acting debut in 2012 with the feature film A Grand Plan. And then her short film, Exwala Love, was screened in the Mumbai Women's International Film Festival in 2014. And it also in March 2015 as part of the Singapore Short Films Awards. Now, Tanya is really also an exciting person. She has a master's in pharmaceutical sciences and was working with Ranbaxy in India before moving to Singapore. And then she worked with Glaxo in Singapore, and is also a mother of a little baby. And wanted to ask Tanya, I mean, I think this is exciting to see that all of you guys actually are executives, pursuing a passion. It's so lovely. I really enjoyed watching you act as Radhika. And my question is, what was it about the director that really allowed you and encouraged you to perform so well? And I can't see you here, but I'm hoping that Amit zooms in on you.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah, thank you, Rati. Thank you for the question. Thank you for this opportunity. And it's amazing that you have the details that I've worked in Ranbaxy in India and in Glaxo in Singapore. Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic journey, and my boy is not so little anymore. He's 14 now. Yeah, and what can I say? I mean, Tashi, I would say, is a blessing, and it's fantastic that so many people are getting to watch it now, thanks to this festival, thanks to this initiative that you guys have, started for this festival and for this movie. I would say the best quality about Shilpa, and why I really like to work with her, is that she allows the actor to explore, but she knows exactly what she wants. So she kind of lets the actor explore and then holds back as well. She knows as much as she'll not just let the actor go, she'll keep the actor in her control, but she'll also let the actor explore what the actor would like to do with the part. So we did extensive rehearsals for Tashi, and I remember especially for the monologue that I have with my brother in the film, we didn't rehearse that too much because she let me be, and for the rest of the scenes, for the rest of the film, we rehearsed like normal. But whenever the monologue, whenever we had to rehearse the monologue, she would she would like be, you know, okay, yeah, I know you'll get it right on the day we shoot. And that's how it happened. So I'm not able to express, but I think she knows exactly what she wants from the actor, and she allows the actor to explore and achieve what she wants from the role. So she meets her vision very well. Yeah.
And did you change the script sometimes while you were acting, or did you pretty much stick to the script?
No, we stuck to the script. She's very clear about that. So yeah, we stuck to the script.
Okay, pretty much. And you know, I really enjoyed watching you in this role, and I couldn't but again think it seems so natural. You know, the entire thing seems so natural, but yet I can see as you speak to me that yeah, you actually slipped into a role of somebody else. It wasn't really yourself, right?
No, yeah. I think a lot of my training has come from the fact that I have done a lot of stage productions. Mm-hmm. So it initially, when we were shooting, it did happen that sometimes my performance would be a little dramatic or theatrical, but like I said, we had intensive rehearsals, so she would titrate my performances accordingly. Yeah. So that really helped. So yeah.
So Kalpa Shah from our audience says the Diwali night monologue was spot on, and she has something to say to you. So let's get you on. Amit, can we get Kalpa on? Kalpa?
Yes. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Shilpa, Anvita.
Hello.
Everyone. Sanjay. Hi. Ved. Yes. Fabulous. Yes, I could relate to your monologue on Diwali night.
Okay, that's great.
At a personal level, and something that's happened recently and what happened 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe 25 years ago, when my father was sick and all that. So I could completely relate, and I could actually put myself over there. So I just thought it was wonderful. So obviously you've done a marvelous job. Shilpa's cut out that role beautifully. And you just said that dialogue was everything as per what was given to you. So
yes.
Hats off to Shilpa for visualizing. I mean, where did she get that from? One wonders. But the spontaneity with which you acted, I mean, I was living that role as you were speaking, and I almost knew what you were going to say.
Yeah, well,
so it was, yeah.
Thank you. No,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that her characters are very realistic. So that's the best thing about her films. Everything is very natural. So you can just kind of, if you understand what she wants to portray, you can just do it. Yeah. And her writing is fabulous. And we stuck to exactly what she had written. So yeah.
That's amazing. But your delivery was 5 चढ़ाए तो नहीं थे ना?
नहीं. वो allowed नहीं था set पे. But yeah, we did that. If I remember, Shilpa, we did that scene late in the night, and I think we did some 3 or 4 takes, and it was a great time shooting that scene. Yeah.
Super.
So 3 or 4 full takes. I think it was like 1 full take. Yeah.
But it was very well done, and yeah, congratulations. I'm delighted to hear about all your other accomplishments and Shilpa's and Ilanti's and everyone. I did not mention Ilanti earlier because there's something else that I would like to say, but let others talk as well. So
thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. You were such a lovable character. Really, we really enjoyed watching you, Tanya. So
thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. And I have a question now for Anvita. Anvita acted as Priya, the maid. Anvita, you moved to Singapore for your graduate degree in arts and communication, and you continue to work in advertising and journalism before you decided that, hey, I'm going to go into the movies, right? And you decided to pursue your hobby as an actor and got into this career. Um, so a little bit about Anvita. She's an actor, writer, and director, has been an active stage and film actor since 2009. She won the Best Supporting Actress Award for the feature film Tashi at the Calcutta International Cult Film Festival, and a Best Actor Award for the 48-Hour Film Project Singapore 2015 at Project Singapore 2015 for the short film Guilt, right? And she is an avid theater actor as well. And Priya, you were just so delightful in this film. We all, I mean, you tugged at our heartstrings, you tugged at my heartstrings. Um, what attracted you to this role? I mean, this is a very different kind of role. And I just wanted to know what what attracted you to this particular role when it was offered to you, and what challenged you in this role?
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us all here. I hope everybody is keeping safe and healthy. Tough times. Thank you for the question and the introduction. Even I had forgotten how long ago I had left. But I'm an active film and short film performer, not a theater person. That's Tanya, because unfortunately, I did not give too much interest in theater, which I'm kind of regretting it now, but I'm getting down on that. So that aside, what attracted me to the script was, of course, the challenge of playing Priya. Because first of all, like Shilpa mentioned a lot earlier, we were actually in talks and conversations of coming up with something. And when she came forward with Priya, at first I was really scared. I've always done very urban roles, but it's a challenge I wanted to take up. And it was a challenge worthy of taking up because Shilpa had it very clearly written what she wanted. And after talking about it, we both were on the same page, and then it just organically went from there. That's about it.
So when you say scared, what is it about? What is it about Priya that scared you?
Oh my God, the language. My Hindi isn't the best, and I am kind of working on that. But that being said, the only scary part was, of course, the language and the fact that it's not an urban character. I was kind of very comfortable playing urban characters. Just understanding Priya's softness and the fact that she has optimism, even though she's been through a lot. Like she has an abusive husband, children, she's trying to make the most for them. She's away from them, and she just finds the light in everything. And as humans, inherently, we aren't wired that way. So to find that positivity without being too over the top with it, that was also a challenge. So yeah.
You're so right. We really aren't wired that way. And this was one to see how positive she was. And then there was that scene where you kind of melted down a bit, and that was so poignant. Was that difficult to do?
Honestly, ma'am, traumatic tendencies for an actor aren't the most difficult, but finding the right tune to why am I crying, the purpose behind it, that was tough. But like we said, because Shilpa has a very clear vision and she rehearsed with us, the understanding of the character was very much there. By the time we reached on set to do that particular character, that particular scene, it came naturally because she pretty much allowed the actor to feel it in the moment, and it came very organically.
Oh, you did a fabulous job. I really loved it. And, we have a comment from Vikas, who's also from Singapore, for you. Vikas, if you're there, please go ahead and say your piece. Vikas?
So I have three comments. Number one, to use a cliche, a daughter is a daughter for the rest of her life. A son is a son until he gets a wife. But the daughter, dedicated her life to taking care of the mother. And Geeta, may I mention that your sister has dedicated her life to taking care of her parents too. Now, the other thing is that uh, is is it that she didn't find someone who would dedicate himself to taking care of the mother? Is why she didn't get married, you know. And my third comment is basically I feel for the maid. Okay, when I grew up, the maids were local maids who came in during the day, worked, and went home. The maid culture in Singapore right now, Geeta and I are probably the only ones that really grew up in Singapore and have seen the evolution of maid culture in Singapore. Maid culture in Singapore right now is nothing more than slave tradery. You know, I feel very incensed at the way it's done, because if you go there, you go to the shopping centers, you have the maid agencies, you have these maids sitting there looking the look of despair, waiting for what was the next thing coming for them, and it's just awful. And the in Singapore, they pay a fee for the maids, you know, and Singapore government makes $5.1 billion in this fee, you know. So it's really, you know, slave tradery at its worst, and I want to really talk about that and open that up as a comment.
Am I supposed to answer that, or is that
anybody?
Go ahead and answer, and anyone else can jump in too from the past.
Maybe Geeta can have a comment too.
Yeah, I really liked her comment. Yeah.
It's, it's true. I mean, slavery, it's there everywhere. First of all, I hate using the word maid. Even when I go back, I'm like, no, ma, she's your helper. We're going to use that word. We're not going to use this term maid. When you talk to some of them, and trust me, whenever I'm in Singapore and we have run through many helpers, I would be like friends with them. We would be connecting. And when you talk to them and sometimes my mom can be a little overwhelming with them because she's also pretty old and she loses her temper. And then I'll try and calm them down. And she's like, no, Didi, wahan pe to hamari halat bahut buri hai. It's really bad in India. Yahan pe, it's a family. I understand what she's saying. I just have to get to know her. I shouldn't be sensitive. I am able to send money back so that my kids can have an education. Some of them a lot of helpers we've had have escaped home in India because they have got abusive husbands who drink and beat them up. Who, if they're working part-time in India, they have to give their money to their husbands. So it's both ways. There is good, there's bad. Like in everything, there are pros and cons. So yeah, I have an issue with how some of them are treated, and the government needs to, really do something more about it. But that's a whole other chapter, and that discussion can happen,
outside.
Yeah. It should be something that we should discuss at another time, not here, not where this
If
movie
I
is.
could just share an interesting fact that when Shilpa wrote whatever it was for the maid's character to say, it was so spot on that even my helper over here in India, like she said the same things and I recorded it and I shared it with her. So it's the story across the board, and I think Shilpa has captured that beautifully in the film as well.
Yes.
And just like how I think Geeta ma'am resonated with Tanya's character, I think my character kind of goes across the board for every helper out there. So yeah.
And your character had so much soul, so much soul.
It did.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everybody. All because of Shilpa, good writing.
Add one thing because, like I said, it's inspired by my helper, Lakshmi, right? So Lakshmi has been with me for 7.5 years. And she's not just a helper, she's like, she's really part of the family. And in fact, her son has come and stayed with us for a couple of weeks, last year, I think, or 2 years ago. And so I think Priya's character, what I love about the discussion is that people can empathize, right? And I think that's all that is needed, right? This whole thing about slavery and things like that is because there is no empathy. And it is true that a lot of the women, it's, Lakshmi built her house after she came here, right? And I love that. She's going like, and the whole, I think this whole slavery and things like that come because there's no trust. But for us, my husband and I, we actually have gone for like actually film festivals. Okay, we actually gone out of the country, leaving our child with her because we like 100% trust her with that. So that's what I say. She's really part of the family. So I think we have to support those people whom we can support, and we just need to empathize. And if Priya's character helps do that, then yeah, I think that's great.
I think it does. It really does. It makes us all think about, help at home and how we treat help at home, and how others treat help at home and so on. But thank you for that. I do want to talk to Charan and Ved as well. So let me start with Charan. Charan is an actor today, but his main profession is really shipping. He says he rediscovered acting in London in 2010. He's a shipping executive, and since then he has been acting in plays, and he also has done a couple of films, and he played the lead male character in Gauri Gupta's The Dance with the Birds. So I want to welcome Charan to our midst. Welcome, Charan.
Thank you, Rati.
So that's your house. That was in the movies.
Yeah, you can tell, can't you?
I was going to ask, because I said, oh my gosh, I mean, you had some fabulous paintings in your house. And I was going to ask, well, who was the artist? And, last night I watched the movie again, and really, Charan? You're the artist too? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
then there were some colorful ones in
the we all family. There's one at the entrance, which has been made by my daughter, one by my niece, and so it's largely just collection of. There are very few bought paintings as such in the house, but there are a few.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Charan, want to know a little bit more about you, because you've gone now from the theater to the films, and then you are an executive. So tell me a bit about yourself, and just speaking to you, I can see, you really acted out your character, right? You really acted out that character in a very measured way, because that's what that role was. And initially I was going to ask, that measured self really you? But I'm talking to you and I can see you're quite different. How did you kind of relate to that character? How did you bring yourself to relate to that character? And how did you make that transition, theater to film? It's quite different, isn't it? Because they're two different films, really.
Yeah, I think Shilpa will tell you that I'm quite the joker and the disruption on the set. So Sanjay was, as you said rightly, was quite measured and composed, given the baggage he begins the journey in the film with. He's got a lot of baggage, but it's like all actors. You will hear this. I mean, you already heard this from Ila, Tanya, Anvita, and I'm sure you'll hear this from Sai as well. It's two things. One is Shilpa's writing, which is very it's beyond beautiful. It's very real. It's you can She sent the script to most of us, I think, from that flight where she wrote the film, and I read the script at the time, and I was in tears by the end of it. And she said, "Would you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, well, hell yeah." And of course, preparation for the character is again thanks to her discipline of rehearsal. So she has this thing that she brings the technicians from India. Her process is she brings the technicians from India. So she only calls them in once she's reasonably confident that the actors are ready. So the characters are ready the way she wants them. and the scenes are ready. So there was a long journey, and we put in a fair amount of work. She had to beat some of the theatrics and drama in me out of my system to get me to play Sanjay as you see it, which was a learning curve for me, because it was my first real film experience. I had done some before, but I don't really count that. So working with her, I had to learn how to do acting on camera, which is quite different to theater work. In theater, we tend to be slightly more pronounced with our emotions, be it with our body, with our voice, with what have you, because it needs to be felt, heard, seen by that guy sitting, 20 rows behind in the corner. With film, the camera is on you and is capturing smaller, movements of the eye and so on and so forth. So a fair amount of training also went in by Shilpa, and all that came together so beautifully in what you see. So yeah, that's about all that I have to say for this.
Frustrations on set?
Frustrations on set? No, just a lot of fun. No frustrations at all. I frustrated her, and I probably still do, with, like I said, my antics and I'm clowning around forever in the house or on set. So that can be frustrating for her at times, but she put up with me pretty well.
Oh, lovely. It was really good. I really enjoyed that. Enjoyed your performance, as I did Wade's as well. I'm going to just see if the audience has a question for you. Anita Raturi, do you have a question for him or for Charan or for any of the others as well? Anita?
Just want to say, somebody's written, is that a Jackson Pollock at the back? No, that's a Charan Singh at the back.
Charan Singh at the back. That was Anu Mitra. Anu. Anu also is an avid collector of art.
It was definitely inspired by Pollock, but it's not a Pollock.
Okay, Rati, I've got my mute off.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Anita Raturi, and I loved this movie because it resonates. I guess my comment was it resonates with the NRI community in a huge way. And for a lot of us, parents were in India and we're here, and we went through that with my in-laws and my husband being their only son, and we were here and we weren't able to go back that often. And then when we went back after they died, they had every week I wrote a letter to my mother and to my in-laws every week. And we went back, we found that package of letters, and the mailman told us that every week they would bug him saying, why has Bahu's letter not come? So, I mean, that poignancy of that relationship. Also, the maid, my youngest sister took care of my mother for 20 years. And then when my mother died, my sister bought her a house and educated her children. Same stories are repeated over and over again. But my third comment is I just got a text from my classmate. Her name is Vandana Dayal, and she knows Ela very well. And she said she's a classmate of mine from La Martiniere in Lucknow. So she knew Ela very well, and she says her paintings, her poster was used, her paintings were used, and her mother's quillings were used. So those are my three comments. One, it resonates wonderfully with NRIs, and the particular relationship of the maid and the lady is very absolutely spot on with my sister, though my sister did get married later. So, but it's, and thirdly, Vandana Dayal, she's a classmate of mine. All right, thank you.
I'll just comment on Vandana Auntie, because the Tashi painting in the film is by Vandana Auntie. And the character was called Vandana also because of Vandana Auntie. So, yes.
That's nice, yes.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Anita. I want to just introduce Sai Pagoro to all of you. Sai acted as Wade, and he is also working in sales and advertising, and is an upcoming actor with a passion for impacting people. And I think he did that very well in this film. He's previously acted in an independent short film titled Hello, Old Friend. Sai enjoys playing cricket, loves watching films, and of course enjoys travel. Sai, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was lovely seeing you act in this film. So, was Hello Friend a film that you did after or before this film?
Actually, Friend was it was just a short film. I wouldn't actually even call it a proper acting experience. So my real, trial by fire and introduction into the world of acting. Hello?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. Sorry, I think I've. All right. So I was just saying, I think my real introduction to the world of acting was through Tashi. And the funny thing about how I came on board for Tashi was also that I was a very last-minute replacement. So I didn't really have the benefit of going through rehearsals. But I think that's what Shilpa was so guide in that part, because I came on set 7 days before shoot, and even 7 days before you were, and just be you and just do what you think Ved would do. And that to me was just enough. So Hello Friend wasn't really any preparation for what Tashi was, but Tashi, and I keep telling Shilpa this, was my best introduction into the world of acting and film. And yeah, thanks immensely to Shilpa for giving me that platform, and even having trust in me for someone who's coming in just 7 days before the shoot, for putting faith on me to actually pull that through.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching you, making the phone call, and the reactions in your face, and I just thought it was beautifully done. It was so natural. Thank you. I want to see if our audience has a question for you. Hello, guys. Could you let Amit know? Rita Kumar, are you there? Rita? So it looks like you guys really had a good party on set, all of you. You seem to get along pretty well together, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think for me, we had a really insane after party as well. But yes, because it's a very small team, there's only 5 actors and 5 technicians. 5 technicians include basically me, the sound guy, and my cinematographer, cameraman, and the AD. That's it, right? So we're quite a close-knit team in that sense. So it's very essential to have fun.
Yeah. Sankhya, do you have a comment? Pull in Sankhya and Rita in that order. Sankhya, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I'm Sankhya. We used to live in Singapore for almost 7-8 years. So everything that you did in the movie actually completely resonated with me, Shilpa, including the house help, whether the whole relationship with the employer, with the employee in the house, and the dynamics were very spot on. I have to compliment you on how beautifully the script is written. It's like so, and the actors, all of you who acted in the movie were so effortless. It almost felt like I was sitting with you in your living room or going on a jog with you, and you're sitting on that bench and having that conversation. Hats off to you. So I really was blown away with how beautifully it all flowed, and how it felt like I was with you guys. So thank you, Shilpa, and thank you to all the actors and the technicians. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For you guys. Amazing.
Rita, you have a thought.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to comment on the tightness of the script. I liked that it was tight and nuanced, and to keep because it brought out the nuances of the relationship, as has been mentioned earlier. The sibling relationship, the relationship between the mother and the son, and the three of them, and then this guest who comes, who adds another layer of relationship, and bringing his own relationship with Vade's relationship and how that plays into the what is happening within the home, and then of course Priya's character. So the nuanced relationships within the tightness of the script were handled beautifully. Considering that the entire film is practically shot within the apartment and with just a few scenes outside. How well controlled it was, and it still allowed the characters to evolve. And I think that was really a particular strength of the script as well as of the acting. So congratulations to all of the actors, as well as of course to Shilpa for really handling that script beautifully, keeping it so tight and yet so nuanced. Thank you.
Much. I'll just comment on the shoot within the house. That's always challenging. And Matthew is here. I call him Jenny. His name is Matthew Jennifer Joseph. He's a cinematographer. We have a cameraman. But I do want to highlight that the entire film was shot handheld. So they would literally just hold the camera like this. And because of my lack of budget, we didn't have any rigs or things like that. So they were not wearing a bodysuit or anything like that. They had to literally hold the camera and be as still as possible. So I mean, and the reason why I insisted on that is because it's already within a house, and there are only so many frames, and it cannot be too static. And that gentle movement that comes, just sort of adds, like, as if you are there, right? Physically watching them having this conversation. So that's really the good job of Matthew and my cameraman Nitish.
And Anu Mitra had a comment on the cameraman. And next, after Anu, I'm going to Vijay Shri. So just to let Amit know. Anu, you had a comment on cinematography for the cinematography.
Yes, thank you. So the movie all around was amazing. If there was one area where I was just ever so slightly disappointed, was in this question on cinematography. And my point is that because the film was about the problems that a typical family has on a day-to-day basis, I felt that the cinematography really focused in a very closed format on daily scenes, on daily conversations, the familiarity of the scene in the house, in the park. These could be replicated in any part of the world, in any home of that social class, of course. But I was wondering about Vandana, Ilaji's character, because she's an artist, and because Ved presented this amazing portrait of Vandana to her on her, for the Diwali celebration. That perhaps, and of course, Ved taking the scene of the Louis Vuitton building in Singapore, and the gardens and so on and so forth. Those were very few artistic shots. I was wondering if there was an intentional decision made to not go that route of providing these very artistic, cropped images that would evoke the artistic side of Vandana. So perhaps it's a question for Shilpa and for Matthew. So I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
So I'll take that question first, because I think I'm responsible for that. Because if I had told Matthew to, that these are the shots that I want, and I really want to bring that artistic side of Vandana out, he would have done a fantabulous job. So, so those choices are mine. And the reason for that is a few, right? Firstly, we are shooting this in 8 days. No feature film gets shot in 8 days, especially one with so many frames and so many, shots. And I'm not even talking about 8 full days, right? Because sometimes I'm at work and sometimes I'm not. And we've had a few, scenes that got washed out. So we went for shoot, it rained, we couldn't shoot, so on and so forth, right? So I am very conscious of time, and my crew comes from India, right? And they have very limited number of days in Singapore. So I'm very particular that the time that we have on set is focused on the performance of the artist. So I would rather use that time to take 3 more takes of acting so that I have more footage to work with on the edit versus pretty shots. So that's where it comes, right? And Sharon's house, obviously had a lot of paintings and things like that. We just let it be in the background, but the actual studio itself was shot in Vandana Auntie's house. So it's a completely different house, and we just went there. And we are there for 2 hours. And that 2 hours, I'm more focused on getting the acting right. And then we are out of there, right? So that's a choice I make. And that's not specific to Tashi. That's across all my films, because all my films are short. And Tashi is actually probably the longest shoot. All my films are shot even in fewer number of days. So that's really the context. And in fact, the team would know this. Even when they want to go for from a technically superior shot, from a production value aspect superior shot, I'm like 80-20 guys. Like if you have 80% there, we are moving. I'm going for the feel. I'm not going for the look, right? So that's a choice I make. But Jenny, you want to say something?
No, I was thinking basically to put all these points across, like 80-20, and then so I think now more or less
No,
like
I take
everything is.
responsibility for that. That's me.
So, yeah. So, but just I mean, like I would just like to add, like one thing is like everyone has mentioned that the good thing about like being part of the Shilpa Krishnan film is like we definitely are going from India to shoot, but when we are there, we are just recording. I mean, like prior to we coming, we are given instructions by she taking some mobile shots and all. So we are told like what you have to be mentally prepared. What are the what you call challenges that lies before you. So we are like kind of mentally prepared, and most importantly, it's like the artists who are performing, they are like thorough, so there is no nonsense on the sets, like unlike where in even in the mainstream films like in India or anywhere, like people are like just evolving with takes. But here what is the best part happening in a Shilpa Krishnan film is the artists are performing. I never call Shilpa's characters as actors and all, so I tell like they are performing artists and giving brilliant takes. Like, so if, as she rightly said, like having 3 takes, she makes sure like all the 3 takes are genuinely good, and those the ones that can be used for edit also. So not a single take is wasted. So these are certain things and going with a handheld, as she rightly said, like I want it to be an immersive experience. So it was like a handheld. And the biggest challenge as a cinematographer when going for a Shilpa Krishnan film is like, you have to be completely be open. Like it is actors, like artists performing, and you have to capture it. You cannot say, I will stage my scene here, this would look artistically good. No, the artist would be free flowing, like they would be performing anywhere. You guys be ready, take the shots, and just make sure it is in focus. Let's do it. Like, so after the take is over, we just review it, and we are like pretty much convinced. So so she is very like, and the other good thing like I have to tell about this director Shilpa is like, I think till date we have never used a monitor. So yeah. She is like totally depending on her technical team. Like she is like, okay, is the take correct? Fine. Like, so there is no review also done, and she is judging everything based on the performance live. So like looking at the artist performing, she is very much satisfied. So there is no time lost like in reviewing, rewinding forward, like big screen and all that. So all that things are lost in this kind of production.
We don't even use extra lights. Like I don't believe in all that like jazz, because I just don't have time for it. So it has to move like that, right? So there's no, it's all natural light. So the card scene that you would have seen in the film, they're playing cards, right? They're sitting around a play. It's actually a daytime scene in the film, but actually it started in the evening and we shot until night. But it was planned in such a way that the camera on Sanjay and Ved will be taken first so that the background is light, and we will shift the camera around, and then we will take the rest of them so that by the time it's night outside, we still have light here, you know. We cheat like that a lot, and that's because of lack of resources, lack of time, and you know, and I just want to get the film done. So yeah.
And plus it helps the artists a lot. Like actually it helps the artists a lot, like when they're just made to perform. So if there is a scene that is in a length of 10 minutes, the take is 10 minutes technically. So there are 2 cameras rolling for 10 minutes, capturing everything for 10 minutes on 2 cast members. Then we shift to other 2 cast members. We are rolling for 10 minutes. So it is a very free flow performance. Like it helps the artist really, like so when we are having a lot of feedback and all from people after watching Tashi now online, like on YouTube, like a majority, I would say almost 90-95% of the people are so convinced with the acting. So that really, makes me very happy. Like, okay, like the artists are really like focused. Like that is the primary intent with Shilpa Krishnan. Like the performance has to be top notch. Like there is no compromise to that. She might compromise for a light. She might compromise for a camera also. Like she might go with a mobile phone also. But performance, it has to be excellent.
Wow, so you did play a very pivotal role, Matthew, because a lot hinged upon your ability to capture those moments, you know, where so Shilpa has a lot of trust in your abilities, and that's wonderful. And Shilpa, you're a great manager, so just managing everything. You know, that's a wonderful thing about being in business, right? It teaches you a lot that you can take to any field. We have a question from Vijayashri, and I'd like her to ask that question. So Matthew, fabulous. I just don't know how you did that without, you know, a whole lot of shake, but fabulous, fabulous work. Vijayashri, are you there to ask a question?
Yes, Rati. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so excited. I am starstruck now, seeing Shilpa, seeing Tanya, Ela, everybody there. I loved the movie Tashi, and I could relate. It was just like a personal journey because, you know, being a youngster and having been out of college and, you know, having my own heartaches and then going through this phase of being alone, single for some time and then getting married, having kids. So, and then looking forward to the old age also, like Ela portrayed it so well. So I loved the movie overall. And Tanya, almost, I feel like you're my best friend already because you look so much like my best friend in India. Yeah, I just loved your character. You're probably my favorite one from the movie. And I kept telling myself, Tanya, you're okay. You're single. You're 40. That's fine, you know, because grass looks greener on the other side always. But you portrayed that character very well, beautifully. I just have a quick question for Ved or Sai. Sai, I loved your character. So natural, such natural acting. How did you do it? I mean, you had a whole range of emotions. You had to go from like being depressed and being sad and then to being angry, and we could clearly tell you were still in love for some time, and then you had to let go. So a whole range of emotions. How did you prepare yourself for that?
Thank you so much. Thanks for the compliment first and foremost. With regards to how I prepared for that, you know, I think when I first read the script, the way I understood the character was that this is a man who is deeply conflicted and deeply confused and unsure about what his life is going to look like. I mean, even him coming into this family, the idea that it's, you know, they're a family and there's this stranger that randomly shows up. It's a very odd act. And for you to put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, it just kind of shows that there's so many different emotions just swirling around in the mind, and you know, he's really unsure. So that was kind of my approach towards this character as well, which is what Shilpa was also telling me as well, that you know, even when for example, when I had to get angry, it was more of a restrained anger, because is he really angry, or are there other emotions that are influencing that anger as well? So that was kind of the overarching approach, which was that This was a character who was deeply conflicted, a bunch of different emotions, acting in all different directions. And it's really towards the end that you sort of see a little bit of a resolution and demarcation of some of these emotions as compared to the start of the film.
Lovely.
Lovely, very nice. Thank you, Sai. And Anvita and Mrs. Ela, I would just like to quickly say thank you. You are inspiring me to become a better mom through your characters. So thank you so much.
I'm not a mom, but sure, I'm glad I
So
helped.
through your characters, definitely you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rati.
Rati, Vandana Dayal is on this Zoom. Rati?
Go ahead.
Vandana.
Welcome, Vandana. Welcome. We're just talking to the cast of Tashi, and Vandana, would you like to make a comment? We just spoke with Ela and Shilpa, and she was telling us how she, did some work at your home as well, your studio. And yeah, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Shilpa is like a daughter to me. Actually, she's my daughter. And Team Tashi has become my family now. Ilaji is like my elder sister. I don't have words to give thanks to her. And all these, for me, they all are kids. So it was really nice interacting with all of them.
Lovely. I'm so glad that you could come on and be with us. So we were just having a conversation with all of the actors, and I'm taking some questions from the audience as we speak. So let me see who's up next. I think we had a couple of questions. There was a comment from someone called Laptop to Everyone, and it says, Shilpa, I'm interested to know if you're a Buddhist, and also whether there's a preparation for being in the flow of writing in the manner that you described. I think, I don't know who the person is because the name is not there. But Shilpa, if you want to make a quick comment on that. And then I have two more questions, a comment from Geeta, and then I think Pulin after that. So if you don't mind, Shilpa,
Sure.
just, yeah.
Well, I'm Hindu, but I do tend to like a lot of things that are Buddhist, right? So I like to read their books.
Yeah.
I've been to monasteries and I've been to Bhutan. I like their philosophies. So yes, so I do like that Buddhism quite a bit. And I think it's mainly because of their the non-violence principle, right? Like it's more of that, I think, more than anything. And I think a lot of the things that people are touching about in their comments and the cast is talking about as well, I think what is inspiring for me from Buddhism in terms of this film is not just the whole living and dying thing, but it's also about not being dramatic, right? So I didn't want Wade to be dramatic, so hence restrained anger. I didn't want Radhika to cry when she's angry and she's having an outburst, but she doesn't cry, right? Because at the end of the day, none of these people have a real problem. They have first world problems, right?
Yeah.
The only person who has a real problem is actually Priya to a large extent, where things are really out of a control. Because otherwise, it's just a job, you cheated on your wife, it was your choice to be as considered. It's like that, right? It's all very first world. So Priya got to cry at the end. So I like that in Buddhism, they're sort of accepting the situation and, you just sort of figure it out and then really don't complain, because there are things beyond that. So that really inspires me. In terms of the writing, I don't really do any preparation. The only thing I really need, I mean, two things, I guess. One is a very clear idea on the the story. So my scripts are written about in 12-14 hours at a stretch, really, because I would have the entire idea in my head already. It would be there, and that's the only then will I actually start writing. So then the writing is very fast. The other thing is I just need a flight because if I'm at home, I'm never getting 12-14 hours, right? My daughter is, she has other plans, or there's work, or there's something else. So yeah.
Take a flight to Cincinnati for your next film, Shilpa.
I would love to. I want the travel to like kick off again so I can start traveling and start writing again.
It'll be fabulous, actually, if you did that. We have a couple of questions, Shilpa, if you don't mind. One is for you. I think it's a comment from Geeta. And then, Pulin, do you have a question? And I think the last question is from Kalpa after that. Geeta, do you have a comment, question?
Oh, no. I just posted it that, Buddhism, Jainism, which is what, I'm a Jain. It's very similar. Your life, you live your life based on having a good death and don't focus on that death. Dying is inevitable. But it was interesting. It was nice to touch on that for me because majority of my friends over here they're not Jains. And even though they're from India, I've always have a hard time explaining to them just the philosophy of ahimsa, not just in words and deeds. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But guys, I just want to say, Shilpa, thank you. It's amazing the way you shot that movie in 8 days, and even all that cheating that you're saying. Hey, kudos. You did a fabulous job. Truly enjoyed it. And especially, it was more special because I could relate to it with, it being in Singapore, home for me, as well as, just the helper issue and the aging parent issue, single sister looking after. So all of you, wonderful, wonderful, thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Pulin, do you have, thank you, Geeta.
Yeah, just a quick comment. One of the best movie I was in this year, and I'm blown off when I hear it's shot in 8 days with handheld cameras. This is just superb work. I also, previous discussion that went through on Helper, I thought Shilpa did a wonderful job booking that at the end when finally Priya is dreaming about herself. She opens up and then immediately it ends with "Go chai bana ke le aao." That was kind of booking that point that okay, you still have a role. You can't dream your own life alone. I thought that was, if Shilpa meant it or not, but it was beautifully done.
That's so profound. Yeah, thank you for pulling that up. Shilpa, your response?
I wrote it such a long time ago. I can't remember but I think it was more of, she was clearly there. She was very overwhelmed. And at the end of the day, you're taking help from someone. And I thought that if that moment is cut, right, and she goes back to where she's comfortable, that would be actually better for her, right? It was less about getting the chai made, but more about don't feel embarrassed or overwhelmed or enough thank yous. You go back to where you are comfortable. So I think it was more of that. But I do want to recognize one person on the call, and that's Prasanna. I don't know if he's still around because I can't see him. But he's a music director, and the reason why I have to call him out is because the entire music for Tashi was done remotely. So in the sense, he was in Chennai and I in Singapore. So I've collaborated with him on several films, but every time we work together, like we've been in the same room and, I've been able to give comments and everything. But this is the first time that didn't happen, and it was an insanely difficult process. And I think this is probably the first time we're actually together and, discussing the film. So if Prasanna is there, just say hi.
Prasanna, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Yes. So this is the first time I'm also with, I think, the entire cast and crew.
Correct.
So
fabulous. Yeah.
Because I completely did the score from Chennai, and the entire team was in Singapore. So yeah, it was interesting.
So what did you do? You streamed in the music, or
Yeah, all the music cues I composed and produced it in Chennai, and then I sent files there, and then she placed it along with the film.
Okay. Oh wow, wow, lovely, lovely, amazing. That was I really enjoyed that music. It was so subtle in the background, and but I did pay attention to it. So thank you for being here as well. It gave us
Thank you.
to see you and then to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a question from Kalpa Shah, and also a comment to Shilpa after that. Folks would like to hear about dots. So let's start with Kalpa Shah.
Shilpa, hi again. Question for you, and which I've asked you personally also. I was in advertising, and hence I'm asking you. And of course, the agency I used to work for handled Procter and Gamble, and I know how intensely everybody used to work on PNG. So multiple things. You said everything was done in 8 days, and so did you create a kind of storyboard? Were the insights that we use in advertising helpful for you to be able to distill and crystallize, exactly? Has that experience from advertising helped you to really fine tune? Because even there we do things in 30 seconds, or I don't know how things are done now, but it's very focused. So, and you mentioned feelings in your conversation just now. You mentioned feelings is what you focus on. So, so no recce, no mock-ups, no nothing, storyboard. So, I mean, if you can expand on that.
Yeah. So I do have a process. So I do short breakdowns. I do pretty elaborate storyboards, and I'm very organized in that sense. I plan everything, which shot, what day, where, like I have these massive Excel sheets. So I think that discipline I definitely got from the marketing background, the brand management background for sure. In terms of the actual, the creative elements of it, I'm guessing not as much, because I am always on the client side, right? So the creative agencies who are actually doing the work. So especially when you come from P&G, we've been through so many trainings that don't say you don't like the storyboard because you don't like the color blue. Why don't you like the color blue, right? Is it not on brand? Is it not on equity? Is it not delivering on the benefits? So we have this training where you're like, we can't comment on anything else, right? Which I think is great. I think every company should have that training, so you have sane clients. So I think at work, I'm actually like this marketing person who would not comment so much on the creative as such. I'm more of, what is the inside? Does it deliver on the benefits, right? I go by my training. Right. But I think definitely the discipline has come. And honestly, in Abbott, we are allowed to go for shoots of ads. And then when I go to Thailand and I see these 100 people shoots with these massive equipments, and suddenly I understand why it takes $300,000 to make 30-second ad, right? Then I'm like, I actually feel quite smug about what I do with my, measly budget. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
kudos to that, really. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. And your a couple of other people at least are from advertising also, from your team right now, from your cast.
Right.
So I don't know whether they also, but it's good. I was curious to know whether that experience has. Thank you. Wonderful.
I think management training does help a lot, help you cut across fields. Like even for myself, I got into roles and started this, was totally alien to me when I started it, but gives you some sort of confidence that you can do it. And then you indeed can do it when you put your mind to it, very different from what I do professionally. So lovely. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us. I want Shilpa to give a shout out to Dots. And then I want to thank all of you guys for having been here. Any last words from the cast? I'd like to hear from the cast. Any last words? And so with that, I'm going to ask Shilpa to say something about Dots and then move it on to the cast members before we say goodbye.
Dots, like I said, Dots is completely made during the lockdown. So I started working on it. I wrote my first script in April. So we had a premiere show on June 13th. So it was just a one-time screening. And we are still working on how we can do a full-fledged release. Having said that, we should be releasing, I think, the trailer in 1 or 2 days' time. And you can follow our Facebook page, facebook.com/dots, DOTS, the film, dots the film. That will be the place to go to see where the next screening is, to watch the trailer, or drop us any messages, etc. So please go to my Facebook page, dots the film.
Thank you. Yeah, and folks, Charan, Sai, Tanya, Anvita, any last comments? And Ira.
I just want to say thank you so much. It was a lovely discussion. And really lovely to see that the film has resonated at so many levels with so many of you. Thank you, Rati. And thank you to each one of you who've taken time out today. Thank you so much.
We want to see it on Netflix very soon.
No,
Just
but
the
really,
same
thank you so
thing.
much for this opportunity. It was really wonderful to hear all your comments, and I remember doing the Tashi Q&A on the phone when it was screened at the festival. So it was like 6:30 a.m. I was in India, and that was a very lovely experience as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's hear from the others. Charan, Sai, Anita.
Just thank you so much, Rati, for this opportunity, and thank you for all the audiences who around the world have been so overwhelmingly supportive of this little humble film of ours. It just encourages us all to do more work, and we hope we get opportunities like this, all of us, to reach out to everybody and move people this way, the way this film has done. It's very fulfilling. It's extremely fulfilling.
It is. It was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. Now, it's Sunday morning here, so we lost a few of our members who are in the LA area, although some folks came in from Dallas and so on. But it's early morning and it's late night for you there. So I don't know if Ila is still there with us or if Ila has left.
Yes, no, I am here.
Thank you for being with us so late at night. We kept you much longer than we intended. The discussion has gone on for.
I can only say that all of us, we can say to each other, Tashi Dalek.
Tashi Dalek as well. Thank you. And thank you, Anita. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Sai, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Absolutely. Everybody said it all. So just thank you
Yeah.
from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Tashi
Thank you
Dalek.
to the audience for being with us.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Shilpa, for having faith in me and giving me this opportunity.
Oh, no,
Thank
so
you, Team Tashi.
lovely that you came on, Vandana. I'm so glad that you were here with us so we could all we could all see you.
Thank you.
Then, so lovely. Thank you. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Tashi Dalek.
Tashi Dalek.
Tashi Dalek.
Tashi Dalek.
Tashi
Bye.
Dalek.
Tashi Dalek.
Lovely guy, a lovely cast. What a lovely cast. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Amitabh,
I have to see Charan.
Anita, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita.
Very nice session.
I'm in Singapore. I'd like to meet all of you guys, hopefully. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Rati. Bye.
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 Thanks, Lena. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Rati. Bye.
Stay on. Thank you, Shaila, for being here with us. I see Shaila as well. Hey, you can stay on and converse for some time if you like. Hey, thanks. I'm just scrolling through to see who's here, and thanks for being there. Lovely. Because I hope all your Alka, Sina Alka. Hi, Alka.
Yeah, Rati, thank you for doing this. It was great, and to me, it was very nostalgic
Yeah.
and stuff. But I have to say, I mean, the one thing, personally, I mean, having been here away from my family, I do have a sense of guilt that I wasn't there, you know, and so I kind of identify with the movie itself. I mean, in terms of not being there for them and being away. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise.
there as well.
Yep. Sorry.
Thank you. How did it go, guys? Did you enjoy the session?
Rati, went very well, I thought. It was interesting. Yes, yes.
Thank you. It was a fun session. So what I'm finding is, see, it's already 12 o'clock. So we started at 10:30, and it seems like the sessions seem to go on for an hour and a half.
Yes.
And next week we have, Shaila, we have Konkana Sen Sharma coming on next week. And I know she's here only for the hour. So we've got to somehow try to compress what we're doing, and try to keep on time. It might mean having to cut off some questions and then, or maybe having the others talk after Konkana leaves. I don't know, something like that. But it almost seems like we need the hour and a half. And it seems to be consistent. Should we change that to an hour and a half then? I don't know. I'm just thinking. It was a good discussion though, right?
Yes, yes, it was.
Yeah. Shaila, did you like the film? I don't know. Shaila's not there.
She's on silent. She's muted.
She's muted. Just
Someone else is muted.
did you like the film? Can you unmute her? Oh, you can unmute it, Shaila. You have to unmute it, I think.
Shaila's phone. He put off a video.
Now?
Yeah,
But you can't hear you.
I can hear you now. Shaila?
Oh, Shaila, you muted yourself again.
Yeah, you muted yourself again. Just click on the little microphone and you'll be able to. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can hear you now, Shaila.
Yeah, I did see the movie.
Yeah.
Which usually I don't watch, but I watched the whole movie this time.
Yeah.
Did she go to Borneo? Did she go to Borneo or not? That's what I want to know.
She did, apparently.
With her telescope and all. I thought the ending would be that the two of them would get married,
Ah.
That's what I thought the ending would be.
Yeah.
Too much of it. Rati, I have to go now. Karthik just came back, so.
Okay, next week it's Death in the Ganj and Konkana Sharma will be there.
Okay.
Sweet guys.
Bye, Rati. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Bye.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Vikas.